Good morning and happy Friday, everybody. This is Alyssa with CAPSULA VITA. I am coming to you today from our backyard that overlooks the lovely Marsh Lake, which is part of Lebanon Hills. And I thought, what better way to connect with all of you than to show you a little bit of our slice of heaven here in Egan. Today, I hope, is the first of many videos that really are intended to help you get to know a little bit more about me and CAPSULA VITA. Today's focus is really around kind of the genesis of the naming, the brand, so to speak, why I do what I do, and to share a little bit of that history and how I work to infuse that and want to infuse that as much as I can moving forward with all of you as you sign on to work with me and helping me tell your story. So a couple of years ago, when I was in the early stages of figuring out whether or not I was going to make the leap from my corporate job to being a small business owner, I had revisited a lot of early ideas that I had started to jot down. I'm a scribbler. I need to get that out onto paper where I can visually see it in order for that creativity and ideas to kind of come to life. And one of the things that, as I started to think about what a name could be and what the essence was of what a core part of my business was going to be, was around this idea of capturing people's stories and helping them collect memories of their life over time. And to play that forward a little bit, it wasn't just about wanting to do that for families. It was also kind of seeing the value in being able to help organizations, companies, and individuals be able to do that as well, and to do that in a way that, whether it was a one-time session with me or if it was several sessions, that there was this nod to being able to suspend time for a bit. And whether it was as immediately felt at the moment, I wanted to be able to preserve that experience in a way that each time a person, looked at that series of photos and could see whatever it was that was in that photo, that they had a really tight emotional connection to that experience in ways that they could remember details. They could remember things like, what the emotion was, what things, maybe there were some distinct smells that are connected with that memory. Maybe there was, just someone in that picture that, has either grown up or has grown older, who has passed on, and being able to just sense, that connection with that person in a way that kind of transcended just the photo itself. And as I got to thinking more about that, it was kind of these memories that I had growing up as a kid, where back then we didn't sit down in front of a computer or our phones and kind of flip through all of the photos. It was these Polaroids and small photos that we took that were eventually kind of put into all of these different photo albums. And the best part of being able to kind of take one of those photo albums off the shelf was when, I was able to sit alongside a family member, whether it was my mom or dad, or whether it was my grandpa and grandma, and have them tell me the stories of really what was going on in these photos. And the best part of all of that was being able to, imagine myself in those photos as if I were there watching it. Not that I would be in the photos, but it was that connection, so that the next time I took the photo album off the shelf, it was that story that I could remember hearing about. And maybe it was even the next time after that, where we were looking at the photo album together, and it was me this time that could be able to say, "Hey, Grandma, wasn't this the time that so and so?" And be able to kind of have, again, that very special connection to the memories that go beyond what just that photo captured. The photo became like a little tap on the shoulder, that gentle reminder that really unleashed everything that kind of encapsulates the memory. So all of that being said, I didn't know quite what to name the business, but I knew that I wanted to connect something with like the essence of life that you are living in this moment, and kind of fast forwarding to a point in time when you could look back on this time and remember when. And the idea of a time capsule came to mind, but I did not like the way that sounded. And the more I played around with different wordings and different ways of kind of getting at that notion, I decided, well, what if I looked into maybe a different language to be able to convey a nicer sounding version of what I was trying to get at, which was essentially a life capsule, and that it was more than just the photos. It was, something that I could be working with people to help create a much longer connection with that experience. So fast forward to whenever that time was, and I was playing around on Google Translate. And as I started to kind of explore all of these different iterations of life capsule, I came across this.
CAPSULA VITA.
CAPSULA VITA, which is Italian for
life capsule.
So there you go. That is really kind of the crux of how I landed on CAPSULA VITA, because even though it's not in English, when you break that down into capsula, capsule, vita, life, it connects perfectly with what it is that I want to do from a photography perspective. So let's journey in a little bit to what that means for me. So as a business, it's one thing. As a personal experience, it's another. The long and the short of it is that I have several different types of life capsules laying around our house. And the one I'm going to share with you today, and one that I'll continue to share more of over time, is my CAPSULA VITA capsule, life capsule. And one of the things that I love to do is to go kind of garage sailing and going to various vintage shops or secondhand shops and looking for unique finds. There's stories within our house based on furniture finds that I've come across that not only fit within the style of what we've kind of come to adopt as ours, but there's a story behind it in terms of how I found it. And this is no different. This is currently my CAPSULA VITA life capsule. And if you look closely, it actually says store records 1952. I found this out in, I think they're located in Golden Valley. It's called Empty the Nest. It's an organization that really helps with clearing out homes and selling the things that families no longer feel that they need to hold on to. Well, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And for me, when I was even before I launched, I had kind of been going on this little scavenger hunt, if you will, to find different types of capsules. And I have a whole set of them inside a hutch in my office, which if you've seen in the first video, or if you've been inside my office at our home, you may not think anything of it, like, oh, those are just like things that she's kind of using for decoration. But really, it was this idea that someday it may be a way to kind of help my customers have a starting point for their life capsule based on starting to work with me. And some of you actually have a CAPSULA VITA box that I have found on one of those scavenger hunts. So today, I wanted to share a little bit about something that really helps synthesize the type of experience I wanted to create for my launch party to almost 2 years ago, and to fast forward to how that's kind of coming together this summer when we have our house concert. So hopefully all of you who are seeing this have seen the newsletter or have received an invitation about it. If you haven't, please send me a private message, and we'll make sure to get that to you. So 2 years ago, it was in the early part of the summer, I had taken a walk with my mom, and I believe it was just Olivia who was with us, my daughter. And we went over to Holt's Farm Park. And Holt's Farm Park is really, I don't know, it's maybe a quarter of a mile's walk away. And they were having some type of festival there, and playing music in the background in front of one of the historic houses that are on that property was a couple by the name of Bill and Kate Isles. And their music, I just fell in love with. I loved the storytelling aspect of it. I loved how I connected with it. I loved really just kind of how purely it resonated with my soul. And I guess the idea was born about what if I were to have, them come and play at my launch party. And while at the time it was really a fleeting thought, I hadn't given much credence to it, I did buy their CD. And yes, there are still CDs out there for those of you who are only familiar with iTunes. But I would highly recommend checking them out. They have what I would call kind of a folk bluegrass sound, but it's so much more than that. It's just there's a depth of emotion that is this undercurrent throughout all of their songs, whether it's more of an upbeat tempo or not. And to give you a little sample of what that sound is like, this is one of my favorite songs off of that album. It is called Mama Do, and it features Kate singing. And if you listen to the first set of lyrics, it is just a very beautiful story.
I will find you when I get to heaven. God will bring you home to me. You were mine, I will love and keep you. You were born from the man who knew.
Isn't that beautiful?
All those days under the burning sun, I toiled, churning vats of indigo mud, beating the water stems and leaves, so the air moves through, till the blue dust comes up.
I could listen to this all day. But for purposes of this video, we're going to, move on. But what I loved about in the liner notes, there is a story noted at the top, which says, Mamadou is based on the Lawrence Hill novel, Somebody Knows My Name, which chronicles the life of Aminata Diallo, an African girl sold into slavery in the 18th century. Mamadou is her son, who was taken from her by the slave owners. A very sad story, but one that I, among other songs, just connected with the depth of emotion. And frankly, that is a guiding principle that I really strive to achieve with each and every session that I do, is to uncover the emotion of those that I am taking photos of. So at the launch party, we were honored to have Bill and Kate Isles come and play music for us while we were enjoying the evening. And I'm not sure if this microphone will pick it up, but if you can, you'll be able to hear the music of my son Jack singing while he is using the weed whacker. If you know Jack, you know that he is constantly singing and constantly whistling. But inside of my CAPSULA VITA life capsule, I also have this postcard that I received from Bill and Kate after my concert, which says, "Dear Alyssa, it was truly our pleasure to be a part of your launch. It was so beautiful, and we wish you much success. Thank you also for supporting our life in music. Much love, best wishes, God bless, Kate and Bill." This is the kind of stuff I don't want to forget as a business owner when I think about where I started, and the support around me along the way as I've been working to bring my vision to life. Frankly, it's been hard, and it's been a lot harder than I expected, even though I thought I had a pretty good idea of what that meant. But it wouldn't be possible without all of you. So fast forward to about a couple of months ago, I was having coffee in the morning, and I was contemplating kind of how to plan my summer for the business, in particular, thinking about our interns, Rachel and Claire, who have now started, kind of how to tee up that plan. And I was also kind of thinking about songs that I wanted to incorporate for upcoming final reveal. And what I ended up doing, and I don't really know why it was that particular day, I went to check out on iTunes if her music was there, which it hadn't been before, but it was. And I couldn't have been more excited. And the other thing that I felt compelled to do that day, that for whatever reason I hadn't done prior to that, was to check out Shannon Curtis's Facebook page and website, where I learned she was looking for folks to apply to be a host of a house concert that she would be kind of wanting to make a stop on her house concert tour this summer. And I could not have been more excited. And it really was a bit of a catalyst, frankly, this late spring, which was really rainy, really cold, and we had snow here in Minnesota a lot longer and later than any of us wanted. It was this ray of sunlight on that day, and it was something that spurred me into action to kind of re-energize the momentum that, frankly had kind of slowed down. And what started was this email conversation that evolved into kind of a planning mode, and now here we are, just 7 weeks away from her joining us in the backyard for our house concert. And if you haven't gotten an invite or haven't seen us talk about that in last month's first newsletter, please send me a private message so that I can get that invite to you. And you can be a part of experiencing not only her music, but her music is also going to be helping to provide a musical backdrop to my photography, which will be on display in a walking gallery in the backyard amongst the red and white pine trees. So, and of course, this will be here for everybody to enjoy that evening as well. But to give you a little bit of a sense of what her sound is, and kind of what you can go check out on iTunes if you like. This is her song "Glorious" off of her new album, which I personally have a signed copy of. This is Shannon. But this is called "Glorious," and I love the lyrics in here. Frankly, it's what I've felt a lot lately as I've kind of worked to kind of get my groove back and to get CAPSULA VITA off the ground in what I'm calling CAPSULA VITA 2.0. So give it a listen.
God, I'm so tired. Can barely keep my eyes open. Not to mention my heart.
This is the shirt that I got
There are 1,001
for supporting the crowdfunding campaign.
it's broken. At the end of the day, still at the end of the day, drive us due west, chase down the sunset. One of these days, what if we catch it? Don't really care. That we don't have a prayer. The day I die, the day that I give chase in the sunset.
Oh, I could listen to that all day. But this, amongst a few other lovely little gems, not sure all of which will go into my CAPSULA VITA life capsule, but many of them will. She sent along these seeds to plant zinnias, which I love. And thank you for making the world a better place. Love that. A sticker. Who doesn't love stickers? She has a podcast called Misfit Stars. I've listened to it a couple times. I need to listen to it more, but she and her husband Jamie are just so fun to listen to. I feel like they're just in my house and we're having coffee together. On top of this lovely book with the lyrics and the songs. Anyway, I cannot tell you how excited I am that she's going to be here. So until the next time we connect, if there's anything that I leave you with today, it's to say thank you for being with me on my journey so far these past 2 years and supporting me in the ways that you have. Whether you're a client or whether you're not, that doesn't matter to me. The most important thing to me is that I have a support system around me who believes in me, who wants to see me succeed, and is providing that encouragement along the way for me to keep doing what I love and for me to achieve what I hope will be an incredible experience that you get with a photographer and me that you don't necessarily get with others. So think about what life capsules you have, and if you don't have one, what might you put in your life capsule? And at the end of the day, whether it's photographic memories or memories like what I've shown you today, my capsule would be the life capsule. All of it is a part of the story that makes you, or your family, or your business, your team, your organization. Don't forget to remember one, and that's what I'm here for, is to help you with achieving that so that in generations to come, you can be sitting having conversations with your grandchildren, or your great-grandchildren, or your own kids, and be able to reflect back on keepsakes and memories and say, remember when. So that's all for me for today. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and in the meantime, feel free to give me a shout out, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, reach out to me if I can be of help and service to you as you're thinking about capturing memories of life. Take care. Bye.